My name coming out your mouth, then I feel flattered. Cause when they stop talking about you, then you don't matter. Since yay high, young and used to stay fly. Never snitched the rule, a lot of y'all forgot to play by.
During the tragic death of a woman who was shot and killed on the campus of Delaware State University. Police say 18-year-old Camay DeSilva of Wilmington was simply visiting a friend when she was unexpectedly struck by gunfire.
The chaos unfolded over the weekend. Authorities say DeSilva was caught in the gunfire as she tried to protect herself. Her family is heartbroken and says she had a bright future ahead of her.
Action News reporter Sharifa Jackson live for us now in Wilmington with this emotional interview with the family. Sharifa.
Yeah, Shari, Rick, the family of Camay DeSilva, they say they are looking for answers and they're also searching for closure and justice. They say this is an extremely difficult time for them, but they wanted to speak out today because they wanted to share more of who the 18-year-old was.
April 14th, it was a different vibe that day, and I looked at her and I didn't know what I was feeling.
The aunt of Camay DeSilva is describing the last time she saw her niece. It's a moment she now replays as the 18-year-old's mother and grandfather also try to make sense of her unexpected death.
We want to see her come through that door. Reality is that she's not.
It's hard.
Camay's family says she was visiting her best friend on the campus of Delaware State University when she was shot. It happened Sunday around 1:30 a.m. Dover City police say she was an innocent victim and had nothing to do with the situation.
I have to be grateful for the time that she spent with us, because in the 18 years of her life, she gave us a lot.
Her family describes her as witty, encouraging, comical, and smart. Kamay's future included a career in cybersecurity. She graduated high school with honors in 2023 and began college at Morgan State University before a mass shooting there pushed her closer to home.
She let everyone know she was okay, and as soon as the school was able to come out of lockdown, she took the next train home.
Currently a computer science major at Delaware Technical Community College, she was in the process of transferring to Delaware State, but all those plans cut short. Today, while her family waits for answers in her death, their main goal is to keep her name alive.
That's the one thing I want everyone to know about her. She was a light, and she was about love.
And police, they say they certainly want to get justice for this family as well. They're currently reviewing surveillance cameras in that area. They want to get the suspect or suspects off the street. We're live in Wilmington. Sharifa Jackson, Channel 6, Action News. Rick?
All right, Sharifa, thank you.
It was a quiet night on the campus of Delaware State University, Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Students walked between dorms, talking, laughing, some finishing late-night snacks, some heading to their rooms after parties. Spring was in the air, and campus felt alive in the way only a college campus can. But that sense of safety, that bubble of ordinary life, was about to be shattered in an instant. Just after midnight, as Sunday morning began, shots rang out. A fight near the dorms had escalated. Voices shouting, students running, a spark of anger erupting into violence. Within seconds, the night was no longer calm. Screams filled the air. Gunfire echoed off the brick walls. And when the smoke cleared, one person lay on the ground bleeding. Her name was Kame DeSilva. She was only 18 years old. She wasn't even a student at Delaware State. She had come to visit friends. She had dreams, real ones, of making a life for herself. She wanted to study cybersecurity. She had plans to work in technology, maybe even protect people's digital lives. She was funny, strong, and loved by those around her. But all of that, the promise, the laughter, the future, was erased in one moment when a bullet struck her in the head. Imagine it. A young woman standing near a dorm breezeway, nowhere near the argument that sparked the violence. Not involved in the fight, not choosing sides, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Police would later stress that she was not the intended target. She had nothing to do with the men who fired the shots. But that didn't matter. The bullet didn't care. At 1:40 a.m., calls flooded in. Shots fired near Warren Franklin Hall. Officers from Dover Police and campus security raced toward the scene. Students pointed, panicked, described chaos. When officers reached the breezeway, they found Kame. She was still alive, but barely. Medics rushed her to Bay Health Kent campus. Doctors fought to save her. Hours passed, but the wound was too severe. By morning, the news spread across campus. Kame had died. Shock gripped the university. Vigils were quickly planned. Counseling centers opened. Professors tried to comfort students. But how do you explain the death of someone so young, so innocent, to classmates who saw her alive just hours before? The pain spread beyond campus too, to Wilmington, where her family lived, to the friends who had grown up with her, to anyone who heard her name and wondered how such a thing could happen. Investigators wasted no time. They locked down the area, gathered shell casings, and pulled footage from every security camera on campus. They interviewed students who had seen the fight outside the Tubman Law's dorm. Witnesses described a heated argument between several young men. It began with words, then shoving. Then someone pulled a gun. The fight spilled toward Warren Franklin, and then the gunfire. Detectives pieced it together. Two names rose to the top: Destry Jones, age 20, and Damian Day Henson, age 18. Neither attended Delaware State University. They were from Dover. They were outsiders who brought their conflict onto campus. Investigators believe they fired the shots that killed Kame. They also charged them with attempted murder, saying at least 2 men in the fight were the intended targets. Kame, they said, was struck by mistake. But mistake or not, the law is clear. When you fire a gun into a crowd, when you let anger turn into bullets, the consequences belong to you. And the consequence here was a young woman's life. In the days after the shooting, fear hung over DSU. Parents called their children non-stop. Students said they didn't feel safe walking across campus. Some said it had been building for years, that campus needed more security, more patrols, stricter checks on who was allowed inside. The administration promised to review safety, but the promises couldn't erase what had already happened. Meanwhile, the manhunt for the suspects went nationwide. On May 2nd, less than 2 weeks later, police found Destry Jones in Brooklyn, New York. U.S. Marshals and NYPD officers surrounded an apartment. He was taken without a fight. That same day, Damian Henson was arrested back in Dover, in the parking lot of a shopping center. A coordinated team of officers closed in. Both young men were now behind bars. They were charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, conspiracy, and weapons offenses. Bail was set at millions. Jones awaited extradition from New York. Henson was locked up in Delaware. The arrest gave some relief, but relief only goes so far when someone is already gone. For Kame's family, nothing brought her back. Her funeral in Wilmington was filled with tears and stories. People spoke about her smile, her determination, her kindness. They spoke about how she wanted to protect people through technology, how she was ready to start her adult life. They spoke about the hole left behind. Her parents sat in silence, shattered by loss. Back on campus, students held candles. They stood in circles, voices breaking as they sang. They said her name aloud, refusing to let her memory fade into a statistic. They demanded change. They demanded justice. The legal process moved slowly. Prosecutors gathered evidence, the shell casings, the security footage, the testimony of students who saw it unfold. They mapped out the timeline, second by second. Defense lawyers prepared too, hinting that evidence might not prove beyond a doubt who fired the fatal shot, or whether both men could be held responsible. Trials, they warned, could take years. And so, the wait began. Courtrooms filled with tension. Families sat quietly, watching hearings, waiting for answers. Prosecutors argued that Kame's death was a direct result of reckless violence. Defense attorneys argued that details were unclear, that their clients deserved the benefit of doubt. Judges weighed motions. The community waited. But outside the court, the bigger story echoed. A college campus, meant for learning, was stained with blood. Students walked past the spot where Kame fell and whispered her name. Parents of future students wondered if they could send their children to DSU. Local leaders debated new safety measures. Police promised stronger patrols, but none of it could erase the fact that safety had already been broken. And still, the human part of the story mattered most. Kame was not just a victim. She was a daughter, a friend, a young woman with dreams. She was the kind of person who should have been thinking about internships, classes, and summer plans, not being buried before her 19th birthday. Her name became a reminder that violence can reach anyone, anywhere, even on a campus where futures are supposed to be built. Trials will end. Sentences will be given. Jones and Henson will face their futures in courtrooms and cells. But Kame's future is already gone. For her family, every day since April 21st, 2024 has been a day without her voice, without her laugh, without her presence. For Delaware State University, every semester that passes is marked by the memory of her death.